in charge of the royal sections of the Palace of Westminster, the Speaker of the House of Commons greeting them, Lindsay Hoyle, and the Speaker of the Lords, the Lord Speaker, Lord McFall. Back at Westminster Abbey, more guests arriving, representing the armed forces, representing charities and other organisations, patronages of Her Majesty. They've all been invited for a specific reason, because they represent either great achievements in the Queen's reign, or just really representing the Queen's own interests. And we're seeing now some of the other members of the royal family, yes?
Oh, yes. Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, we just seen, and their children, and the Gloucesters and their children. And I think one of the things that really struck me after that procession that Robert was talking about as they were going into the Lion State was just how many extended members of the Queen's family were there. And that was so wonderful to see. I think it might have been about 64 of them. And, you know, again, that testimony to family, as well as duty and all the other things that we've been speaking about. And of course, talking of family, there you see two of the youngest members of the royal family, Prince George and Princess Charlotte.
It's the first time I think we've seen them really taking a part since the death of the Queen. I mean, and what an extraordinary day for them to embark on their first royal procession, as we're going to see at Westminster Abbey. But I think everyone was very keen that they should play a central role today.
We saw the Queen Consort, didn't we? And we saw the Duchess of Sussex as well, I think, in one of the other cars. Some of the grandchildren arriving.
Yes, there's Lady Louise Mountbatten Windsor and James VII, the Countess of Wessex's son there. They, of course, played a key part in the vigil at Westminster Hall on Saturday night, very movingly. It's been a feature of these events that the younger generation, as it were, the grandchildren, have played a part. That never happened with previous royal funerals, Princess Beatrice.
Well, the Queen, of course, had a very close relationship with all of her grandchildren. She adored them, and she enjoyed having those wonderful summers with her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren too.
Here we are in the Abbey, congregation now more or less all in place now that the members of the royal family have joined, but not all of them, of course, because the King and senior members of the royal family are across the road in Westminster Hall. They're at the Palace of Westminster, and they're the great sight of the naval ratings with the carriage. Just there in the background you can see the great wheels of the state carriage, the gun carriage, which since 1901 has been kept for the specific purpose of bearing the monarch's coffin. And the naval ratings will be in charge of taking that heavy carriage with the Queen's coffin, initially to Westminster Abbey, and then from there to Wellington Arch, ready for the rest of the journey by road to Windsor. But the ratings here, as we mentioned earlier, lots of them just been in the armed services, just been in the Navy for a few months. And what a remarkable day for them, and what a remarkable duty for them to be shouldering. The gentlemen-at-arms are just approaching, one of the historic monarch's bodyguards, and the Royal Company of Archers, much in evidence in Edinburgh last week, because they are the King's bodyguard in Scotland, and the Yeomen of the Guard, who are another form of royal bodyguard, formed in 1485 by Henry Tudor. The Gentlemen-at-Arms, slightly younger institution from 1509. So the Queen Consort is arriving at Westminster Abbey and talking to David Hoyle, the Dean of Westminster, being shown in and welcomed. And they'll be making their way all the way down the nave. George and Charlotte, the Prince and Princess, looking immaculate,
Yes, I mean, I think we've come to expect nothing less of these two lovely royal children. And I'm just thinking back to the service of Thanksgiving for the Duke of Edinburgh, and they were there too.
So right now in Westminster Hall, the coffin is being moved by the bearer party from the Queen's Company, 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards, to the door of Westminster Hall, ready for it to be transferred to the gun carriage.
I feel I want to cut that wig.